Welcome back, guys. Today I'm over in Lincoln, Illinois. This is a community I grew up in. It's the land of Lincoln around here in central Illinois, and this town is, like I said, where I grew up in this area, and there's several things Abraham Lincoln related to, and so I'm going to show you that stuff today. However, before I get on the Abraham Lincoln, something that's not necessarily about Abe is this roadside attraction we have that's pretty cool. I'm on Route 66. Route 66 runs straight through Lincoln. Here we are with the historic highway. One day in my life, I really want to take this entire highway, take the whole route since I live here in Illinois, I'd probably take it from Chicago to California to the Santa Monica Pier. But, you know, I've lived right down the road from this road my whole life, and it's kind of cool to think of all the things all the way along in the hundreds and hundreds of miles. So anyways, right here we have Guinness Book of World Records, world's largest covered wagon. Now, I watch several YouTubers. I watch Adam the Woo, I watch Nomadic Fanatic, and I've seen these guys go to another wagon that is on Route 66, and they label it as the world's largest. Well, that is actually an old building. I think it was a gas station, and so it's not a true wagon. This one actually rolls on its wheels if it's pulled by a tractor. So this is recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's largest wagon. Just kind of setting that straight, putting that out here. Here's some information on it. We got a nice plaque. It was built in 2001 by David Bentley, and it was built up in Divernon, Illinois. It's 40 feet long, 12 feet wide, 25 feet tall. It stayed there until 2007, and then it was bought by Larry Van Bibber and donated to the Abraham Lincoln Tourism Bureau, brought down here to Lincoln, and that was in 2007, and it sat for 2 years, and then it got moved to its final location, which is right here. So since 2009, it's been right here. And like I said, we are on Route 66. There's things all along this highway in this country to see. This is a stop that you pull over, take yourself about 10 minutes and check it out. We have some nice park benches here to relax on. Of course, we have Abe on the wagon. I didn't see it in the information there. I don't believe Abe was originally on this wagon. I think he was added to it. But this covered wagon was built, like I said, in 2001 and is the world's largest. And just in the 5 minutes I've been out here, I can tell you, like, even though this is a local thing I've seen for years as I've driven by, I'm well aware of this place. I can just picture doing this hundreds of times going on Route 66. Just pull over, park the car, get out, stretch your legs for 10 minutes. You can hear the traffic cruising by. Man, it's what America's about. And as you see right there, Guinness World Record. So anyways, I didn't feel like it would have been fair for me to do a day here in Lincoln, Illinois and give you this Abe Lincoln tour without at least showing you the world's largest covered wagon, because a lot of people might not know it's here. So let's go check out some Abraham Lincoln stuff. So before Lincoln, Illinois was a thing, there was Postville, Illinois. It was a small town, and the center of it was right here, as this sign says. Postville Park is what it is today. In 1835 is when the town of Postville became a town. And Abraham Lincoln would often play sports here, as this says. He'd play the maul, which is a heavy wooden hander. He'd pitch horseshoes. He'd play town ball. What do you think town ball is? I assume it's like baseball, but without gloves. We have this old building. It doesn't have any placard for it. I don't have a clue what it is. So it's just a little playground now, but since we're going through the Abraham Lincoln history stuff today, we're going through the history of Postville and Lincoln. This was the first seat of Logan County, and right here would have been the center of town. And Lincoln played sports here with kids. And then if you can see right past Casey's over there, you can see an old building up on that hill. That's the Postville courthouse. That is a place we'll be visiting here in a moment, and I'll tell you more about it. Okay guys, forgive me, I'm reading some stuff here. I'm going to try to get this correct for you historically, and if you know more about Abe Lincoln than what I'm telling you, and if I'm incorrect, please get on here and set that record straight. So I'm looking up some information on Abe, and he was licensed to practice law on September 9th, 1836. And in 1834, he was elected as a Whig candidate to Sangamon County to the lower house of the Illinois General Assembly. He was reelected 3 times to the Sangamon County representative, and that was from 1836 to 1842. So he's in the General Assembly, he's practicing law, he's traveling around. And so before Lincoln, Illinois was what it is today, there was a smaller town, and it was Postville. And this is the Postville courthouse. And I'll just show you the placard right here from 1839 to 1848. It was the seat of Logan County because Lincoln didn't exist yet. And Abe Lincoln himself practiced law here. He would travel around, it says, as a member of the Bar of 8 of the Judicial Circuit. He attended court twice a year here. So let's check out, and it's on this site. They say it's this very site, and this is the building. Obviously it's been restored. I was reading a thing that's up here, and to summarize, there's this story of a court case that Abe was defending someone in this courthouse and found out that the defendant was trying to collect a bill twice. So they took a recess, and the judge, they come back and they can't find Abraham Lincoln anywhere. Where's Abe? Well, they say he was at a nearby park. Yeah. So he was in a nearby park playing ball with some kids. And they said, Abe, you're needed back in court. He said, my hands are dirty. I need to have them cleaned. So the judge simply remarked, honest Abe. So that, oh, I'm sorry. Let me get this quote correct. Doc, tell the judge I can't come. My hands are dirty and I want to clean them. So that was the remark. If you want to read this story, I summarized it for you. Go ahead and pause the video and check it out. But, I don't know if that's where Honest Abe came from or if the judge just, followed through with that. But yeah, it's kind of cool to stop. Again, this is another place that I've driven past thousands of times. I've grown up in this community. They have events, colonial event, not lots, probably once or twice a year. They'll have colonial events here, and it's pretty cool. And this is open during the day from noon to 4 in the afternoon, 3 or 4 days a week. It's not open yet today, but it's just really cool to kind of think like, yeah, this building and on this site, I'm sure the structure didn't have garden hoses, but you know what I mean? Like, Abe Lincoln practiced law in here. I wonder if firearms were allowed back then. So after we left the Postville courthouse, Abe was practicing law. 1846, he was elected from the Whig Party as a House of Representatives representative. I know I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. He served 1 term. He went back into practicing law. I'm getting a lot of my historical timeline information from the libraryofcongress.gov, and then a lot of my Logan County history from the sites here in Logan County that have been put together by the Historical and Genealogical Society. And the Bureau of Tourism, I believe, has got a hand in a lot of that. Abraham attended the Whig Party's National Convention in 1848. He resumed law practice in 1849. He declined appointment to be the governor of the Oregon Territory in 1849. So my point is, at this time, Abraham Lincoln is going back into law, but he's a pretty prominent, national politician. He's well known, but he is a lawyer. So the year is 1853, and about a mile from Postville, the Chicago and Alton Railroad has constructed a railroad that goes through town. And some land is purchased. And this land, they're gonna build a new town, they're gonna develop a new town, and there are 3 developers, Robert Latham, John Gillett, and Virgil Hickox. And their lawyer is Abraham Lincoln. Abraham is also the lawyer of the railroad company. So they're about to christen this town, and they ask Abraham, hey, can we name the town after you, and will you christen the town? And Abe was quoted as saying, nothing with the name of Lincoln has ever amounted to much. They say Abraham was a pretty humble guy, but nonetheless, he let them christen the town. So this is kind of something you know if you're from Lincoln, Illinois, is that this town, Lincoln, Illinois, is the first town in this country to be named after Abraham Lincoln before he was ever the president of the United States. He was actually at that time just a lawyer. He had been in some prominent political positions. So Abe christens the town right here on this spot. We're at the Lincoln Depot, the Amtrak station nowadays. And I'm going to let you read this placard if you want. It gives a first-hand telling of how Lincoln was christened with a watermelon, with the juice of a watermelon. So if you're from town, you drive through the downtown area, you see this little watermelon statue here, and you know that. You might not know a lot of super details, but you actually know that Lincoln was christened with a watermelon by Abraham before he was ever president. And we have another placard over here because, of course, he was christened in this town when the first lots were sold. It's in 1853, August 27th. When he was president-elect, so once he won his election, he actually gave a speech here in 1860. And then after his death, his funeral train was going from Chicago and traveling to Springfield, and it stopped here, and that was in 1865. So Abraham Lincoln has got a lot of historical stoppings and events right here on this site. So I'm inside the Logan County Tourism Bureau, which is also the Amtrak station. And I just wanted to, this is that same site that the speech was given, where I was just standing outside with the watermelon statue. And I wanted to show you guys because it's been completely renovated. It's a brand new building now. But for years and years, and this was my childhood growing up, if you can tell in this picture, the Lincoln Depot was this site, and it was a restaurant. And part of it, you know, you came into a building, and then there was this glass area, but you would actually sit in train cars and eat in the restaurant. It was a really cool place. You can kind of see here how there was the dining cars, and we had seats and whatnot. So that's just an old piece of history that has moved on. And this was, yeah, this restaurant was Lincoln Depot. So actually this gives a timeline. I'm not going to read through all of it. I'm kind of talking about a lot of stuff for you guys, but if you want to pause and read this you can. So it actually, yeah, it shows kind of the history, and yeah, the restaurant. So that's where my childhood comes into play. Like, I knew of the restaurant. It was built here on the site that the original train station was, which was built in 1853. So, and now we're here. That's where we are today. And just to give you a quick brief, you know, of the room, and the other side, of course, you have the Lincoln statue with the watermelon down there. So I felt like, simply for posterity, since I showed you the pictures of what the depot used to look like when it was a restaurant. Again, that's kind of the middle of its life story, but that's where my story picked up, what I know of. This is what we look like today. Of course, the trains are gone. It's kind of sad, but, you know, remove the old so that we can rebuild and make something new. And our last stop today on this linear tour of Lincoln in relation to Abraham Lincoln is an apartment building downtown. Why is that though? What does this old apartment building have to do with Abraham Lincoln? So we got to Abraham Lincoln's death. We talked about his funeral train passing through town. He's been buried in Springfield. I believe he was initially buried in a normal grave. I haven't checked up on that. That might not be accurate, but I don't think he was in the current tomb he is today. So as this placard tells us, it's the spring of 1876, and there's a gang of counterfeiters, and they're plotting to steal the body of Abraham Lincoln. They want $200,000 and one of the members of their gang to be released from I almost said pen, because it literally says from the penitentiary here. They wanted him released from prison. The conspiracy was uncovered by a detective by the name of W.D. Longnecker, and it was foiled. The men were prosecuted. In the fall of 1876, these men attempted to steal the body, but were unsuccessful thanks to those efforts by the detective W.D. Longnecker, and the men were later prosecuted. So they were unsuccessful. But it just says that they plotted here, and it says that this was their hideout. But I've always been told, living here in town, that this used to be an old bar or saloon. It's the 1800s, so I guess we'd be calling it a saloon. But yeah, right here in this building, which again is another place I grew up hanging out around. Actually, a little sidebar, my brother rented this apartment and lived here for a period of time in his life. Short period of time, probably like a year. But yeah, we are in the downtown Lincoln area, and right there they wanted to get his body. So a little bit of a different tour today. I wanted to hit up just this town. I think it's relevant that this was the first place named after Abe before he was the president. You know, lots of people were named, lots of towns have been named after presidents, but not very many before they ever became president. And so that's the goal today, to kind of tie in Abe and his life in Lincoln and what he had to do with this area, and do it in a linear fashion. So hope you liked it. Comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.